standpoint, and how do you begin to execute those things. So this session isn't a business theory driven session, because I want it to be practical. I want you to be able to think about your ideas as we go through, and how this content that I'm sharing is applicable. Also, feel free to stop me at any point in time and ask your questions. So I'm gonna do my best to present, look at the screen, and answer questions as well. So if it is that you do have a question, please raise your hands or just unmute yourself and say, hey, Claire, I have a question. That's perfectly fine with me as well, because there may just be some challenges as I seek to maneuver all these pieces. So I have my Zoom going on my phone as well. So that's good. All right, guys. So, okay, what's going on? I'm trying to click, it's not working. Hold on. I think I have to go full presentation mode in order to use my clicker. All right, so I'm using my clicker because I don't have a mouse. So I have to go in full screen in order to do that. So cool. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, I just wanted to put this on the screen to kind of validate my position here. And no, I'm by no means an expert. However, I have worked with entrepreneurs in the space as well as larger organizations and their teams. So I think that gives me enough credibility to be able to present on this subject matter, which I have done on numerous occasions. So I too am an entrepreneur. Somebody is sending me a message. Oh, I too am an entrepreneur, and the journey is always a challenging one, and it's constantly you're trying to pivot or do some sort of iteration as to what your business model ought to look like. But guys, I want to save you some trouble and some challenges by using this particular approach that we're going to be talking about today. Here is the flow. So I wanted to do introductions. So for those who are listening and are, you know, giving me your attention, could you just introduce yourself and just give us a little background, please? Unmute yourselves and do so. Suzanne?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Suzanne Lawrence, and I'm an attorney at law by profession. Hope I can learn something from this presentation today. Thank you.
All right. Diane, Letitia left. Hello. All right. I don't know what happened. Somebody jumped out. All right, so I'm gonna continue. Anyway, Diane, maybe Diane is listening, but she's not at her computer. All right, that's perfectly fine. All right. Ooh-wee.
I think Diane just sent a message. She said hi.
Oh, I'm not able to speak, but I'm listening. Oh, great. All right, no worries. Oh, Lord, I'm trying to maneuver all of this. Next time I need to just let folks into the room because I can see how it's going to be a challenge trying to let folks in. All right, cool. So, let me go back. All right, cool. All right, so the flow of the presentation is very simple. We've already done our introductions. I'm gonna speak a little bit on the background of just the business life cycle itself. And then I'm going to move into defining the problem, and the problem meaning whatever it is that you're trying to solve in the space. So if you're starting a business, there must be a problem, right? So you would have identified a gap and how it is that you're going to fill that particular gap. So that's where the defining the problem comes in. Then we're going to move into market validation and idea validation and product and service validation. All right, so on the screen, you're seeing the business life cycle. And for those of you who did Business 101, this would be very familiar to you. So you have the seed stage, then the startup, then the growth, and then that's where you're making the big money, the establish, the expansion, and so be it until you exit. And exit could be through the form of acquisition or merger or whatever it is, how you define that. So most of us here are at the seed or the startup phase in business. So the seed stage is the idea stage. And this is where you're looking for a proof of concept. And a proof of concept is that your business idea is a good idea and that there are customers out there and they are willing to buy as soon as you launch your business. They are willing to buy. And how do you know this? You would know this from having done your research. So the seed stage really involves a lot of researching and then prototyping and testing the market. So here you see the market validation, then you move into the idea validation, and then the product or service validation. So for this particular discussion, our focus is around the market validation. So we need to find, so if it is that you have not validated your market, then you would not move on to idea nor product, because you would come to a decision that there isn't a market for your perceived problem that you're trying to solve. It's just that simple. So a lot of ideas get killed right at this point. But when you're an entrepreneur, when you're creative, what happens is you keep on having ideas. Have you ever met those people that they just pitch you all the time? All the time they have an idea, all the time, you know? So these are the people who continue to market and to validate their idea at this stage. Okay, so why is this process important? This process is very much important because it determines if there is a need for your solution, right? Is there a market, right? Does the market have a need for what you are trying to bring to it? And another thing to note here is that you don't waste a lot of time. Well, it might be time consuming depending on what it is that you're actually trying to test or bring to market, right? But it may be a great idea, but there is no need for it. How many of us have had great ideas and then realize that, well, there's no need for that particular idea in and of itself? Okay, hold on, I'm admitting someone. All right, cool. So I get to see. And the second reason why this is important is because it mitigates risk. So in opposed to you going off and developing a product or a service and then trying to fit it into a market, it eliminates that. So you don't have to take on that full risk. But what you find happening is that most of us will start our business and then try to fit the need in, right? Trying to find the market, trying to determine whether or not people want this thing or need this thing. But if you start with the validation process, you will mitigate these risks from early and you will save some money and save yourself some trouble as well. I'm sorry, my screen keeps freezing up. All right, cool. All right, so first thing, you need to understand the problem that your business idea solves. That's the first thing that you want. You want to understand the problem. If you don't understand the problem, then it means that you cannot create a solution because you don't know what the problem is. What problem your potential market is having? What problem are you looking to solve? Then when you understand what the problem is, then you'll be able to figure out what is the solution. So whatever that gap is. All right, so here I was gonna ask you guys, what problem is your current business idea solving? So I don't know if anybody wants to answer that, or you guys just want to just go ahead and take your notes. All right, it's fine. I'll just go through. All right, so here I have a problem statement, and we're going to be talking more about the problem statement from Netflix. And this is when Netflix originally started. And for you folks who remember Netflix, when you used to order your movies and it would come in the mail, then you would watch your movie and then you would send it back through the mail. That was the original idea behind it. And the problem that they were solving was this simple, and it's expressed through their problem statement, which says, going to the video stores is a pain. People don't want to travel. People don't like traveling back and forth just to rent a movie. And they hate paying late fees even more. And can we testify for those persons who had a Blockbuster card? If you had a Blockbuster card, you would have to go in, or just when we used to visit the video stores back here, even in Jamaica, you used to go rent a video and then you go home, you watch it. If you keep it over the extended period of time, you would have to pay a fee. So Netflix wanted to solve the problem, this particular problem. So you see how it's easy for them to now say, what should be my solution? Because they have clearly defined what the problem is. So, steps to defining the problem. So these are the steps that you should take when you're looking at your opportunity or looking at your initial problem that you're trying to solve. One, you need to explore the current situation, and we're going to get into that. And after you have explored the current situation, then you move into develop a problem statement. And the problem statement is similar to what we have just read, to Netflix problem statement. After you've done that, then it is time for you to move forward and being able to determine the market validation. And if it is a go, your idea validation. And if that's a go, then the product validation, then you move from step to step. That is how it is, connecting the dots. Get some water. Are there any questions? Anyone? All right, there are no questions for me. Okay, so I want us to be able to workshop an example so that it's applicable to you and it's more tangible in terms of learning, right? Explore the current situation. We just said that the first step was exploring the current situation. So we're on the first step, step number one. So in exploring the situation, the first thing is you construct what you think the initial problem is. So it's almost like an hypothesis, like I think the problem is this. So here, the problem that we have is patients miss their doctor's appointments. It's a problem. So you're going to your doctor, and your doctor is, finish examining you, and you're probably having just a sidebar conversation with your doctor, and your doctor says, one of the problems that I'm having is that patients don't really show up for their appointments. Oh, that's a big pain point for us, or it is a sore point for us. And normally, that's how you in identifying a problem, it's something that somebody else is experiencing or something that you have observed. So it could be as simple as a conversation, and it starts at that point. Now, if you wanted to take this up and say, well, I think this could be an opportunity for me to solve this problem, not only for my particular practitioner, but also to further find out if other doctors are having this issue